Ethan Cole, the 32-year-old CEO of Cole Industries, sat alone in the corner of the restaurant, a table set for two staring back at him like a silent reminder of failure. The soft golden glow of the chandeliers reflected off the polished glass, casting faint shadows on his crisp navy suit. He glanced at his watch for what felt like the 100th time. 7:45 p.m. No Chloe, no polite explanation, no apology. Just an empty chair and the uncomfortable awareness that his assistant had insisted on this blind date for his own good. He sighed and pushed his fork aside. In a life filled with power, contracts, and boardroom victories, moments like this were rare. Moments where he had nothing to control and no one to impress. For all the wealth and success, the one thing he lacked was simplicity. And tonight, simplicity was supposed to come in the form of a stranger who might be his perfect match. As he reached for his jacket, preparing to leave, the restaurant doors swung open, letting in a gust of cool, rain-scented air. A young woman hurried in, water droplets clinging to her chestnut hair and her cheeks flushed pink from running through the drizzle. She scanned the tables quickly, eyes wide with anxious hope, and froze when she saw him. "You're Ethan, right?" she asked, her voice small but tinged with relief. Ethan blinked. "Yes, and you are?" She hesitated, glancing at the chair in front of him. I'm so sorry I'm late. I thought I had the right table." "I wasn't supposed to meet someone here, but, well, this seat was empty." Before he could correct her, she slid into the chair, settling across from him as if it had been her table all along. Ethan stared at her, her plain blue dress slightly wrinkled but neat and her worn handbag on her lap. She was nothing like the women he normally met. No designer heels, no glossy makeup, no rehearsed smiles. Just her awkwardly apologizing and genuine. "I'm Anna," she said quickly, noticing his gaze. I think I took someone else's table by mistake." Ethan's first instinct was to stand to insist she leave, but then he noticed the way she fidgeted, biting her lip nervously, and something softened inside him. The armor he wore, forged over years of cautious detachment, faltered. "You can stay," he said finally, leaning back in his chair. "I was about to leave anyway. This works." Anna blinked in surprise, relief washing over her features. She smiled, and small, shy, but sincere. For the first time that evening, Ethan felt the strange, uncomfortable stir of curiosity and warmth. She was a stranger who didn't belong in his world. Yet somehow, by sitting down in the wrong place, she had already started to change it. And as she began to speak, talking about the little struggles of her life, her dreams, and the small joys that had nothing to do with money or status, Ethan realized something profound. Sometimes, the most unexpected habits, like noticing another person's heart, listening without judgment, and valuing honesty, could reshape a life that had long been ruled by wealth alone. For the first time in years, the empty chair across from him didn't feel like failure. It felt like possibility. Anna shifted in her chair, still slightly flustered but smiling as she tugged her damp hair behind her ear. Ethan couldn't help but notice how different she was from anyone he had ever met in his meticulously curated world. There was no pretense, no calculated charm. She was simply herself. A young woman who had stumbled into his life by accident, yet somehow made it feel as though she belonged. "You really didn't have to sit here," she said softly, glancing at him. "I wasn't supposed to meet anyone. I'm not exactly the kind of person who dines in places like this." Ethan leaned back, studying her. "You're here now. That's what matters. So tell me, who are you, really?" Anna hesitated, then began to speak. Her words flowed slowly at first, then more freely as the minutes passed. She told him about her two jobs, a part-time librarian and a barista at a small café, and how she had been saving every penny to care for her sick mother. She spoke of her dreams too, timid but bright. Opening a bakery where people could come not just for bread but for warmth, comfort, and a little taste of joy in their everyday lives. Ethan listened, mesmerized. He had spent his life talking to people who measured him by his wealth and influence, who flattered him or challenged him for gain. But Anna, she didn't care about the millions behind his name, the companies he controlled, or the luxury cars in his garage. She cared about the little things, the way a cinnamon roll could make someone smile, the quiet moments when someone truly listened. "You know," Ethan said, a rare smile tugging at the corners of his mouth, "I've never really had anyone speak to me like this before, not like you." Anna blushed lightly, embarrassed but pleased. I don't usually talk like this either, she admitted. I'm not used to it. Most people don't listen. They only wait to speak. That's a habit, Ethan mused, surprising himself. Waiting to speak rather than listening. I've built my life around habits like that, but maybe I need new ones. Anna's eyes sparkled. New habits can be scary, but they can also be amazing. They laughed lightly at the coincidence of their shared insight. Ethan realized that this accidental dinner was teaching him something he had long forgotten. The power of small, consistent acts and listening, caring, noticing, giving attention could transform not only the world around you, but the world within you. By the time dessert arrived, a simple plate of chocolate-dipped strawberries, Ethan felt a connection he hadn't thought possible. Anna's laughter, genuine and unforced, filled the spaces in his heart that had grown quiet from years of precision and control. The empty chair across from him, once a symbol of loneliness, had become a space of possibility. When Anna finally glanced at the clock, her face betraying reluctance to leave, Ethan surprised himself again.
Stay a little longer, he said softly.
I want to hear more about your bakery, and maybe more about you. Anna's smile widened. I'd like that, she said. And in that moment, Ethan realized that sometimes mistakes, like sitting at the wrong table, could become the habits that change your life forever.